Hi guys, this is Yash Dahankar here, co-founder and CEO of Acknowledger, and we have really special guest Pranav from StationX. And today we'll be talking about the future of communities and Web3 investing, which is like the way how we do decentralized investing. What are the ways, and what is the future of the communities, and how do we invest in the Web3? So Pranav will be talking about that as well as what they are doing at StationX. And we keep this podcast every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. UTC, and we have been doing it consistently since the first week of Jan this year, and we have taken a pledge to do it consistently throughout by the end of this year. The goal of this is to connect with the community directly, answer their questions, and also share insights about the project as well as what's happening in the industry, learn from the experts around the Web3 space. And today we have Pranav. Hey, hi Pranav, nice to meet you, and thanks for coming on Acknowledger podcast.
Hi Yash. I think kudos to you guys for how consistent this podcast lineup is, and I think I've seen a couple of other episodes also, and yeah, really fun stuff. And I really love what you guys are up to also, and it's really nice that you guys do this, and that too, you guys are consistent at this. And also, again, thank you so much for having me. I think the topic that you have chosen here is very important to me and very important for the stuff that I do on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, for whoever finds this piece interesting, I think I'll be really glad if this podcast episode touches at least some people
Yeah.
who would want to sort of dig deeper into Web3 and take this stuff seriously. Yeah, that's thank you.
Yeah, and initially this podcast started as a Twitter Spaces. Then we realized, we can make it more interactive by having videos, and this goes live simultaneously on Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. And the best parts from the podcast, we broadcast it to different channels as a short videos, and even in the form of blogs, so that we can spread this content. So, so we thanks a lot again for joining here, and to the thanks to the StationX team for coordinating with us. So, Pranav, can you quickly tell us about yourself and what you are doing at StationX? What StationX is?
I will dive right into it. So, quick background. So, I'll maybe start with a little bit about me. I am, so some people must have seen me at a few of these events in Bangalore, or maybe have seen me elsewhere, or, for a lot of them who've not seen me yet also. Uh, I am Pranav Yerabati. I primarily hail from Hyderabad, and I've been building StationX for a year, for about 8 months now. Previously, I primarily graduated from Triple IT Bhubaneswar, and immediately since fourth year of college itself, we have been into tech in some way or the other. We have been building apps, and we the first app that we built was a food ordering platform, and we scaled it to about 25 restaurant partners and about 100 recurring orders per day. And then eventually, when Zomato hit Odisha. Zomato had come to Odisha. We moved on from that business, and we ventured into something else. Then I ran a services business for a couple of years, which was primarily into marketing and performance ads. That's primarily what you could say is my cup of tea. I'm a marketeer by blood, and I've been in the marketing and performance space where I worked with a bunch of D2C startups. And a lot of these, I work with the airports some airports in India, where we used to run a lot of performance ads on the internet, where by tracking flights and flyers, and we used to do a lot of data analytical marketing for. But that we scaled to $1 million revenue as a business. And then comes my first crypto profit, after which I really started taking this seriously. My co-founder here, Rishabh, used to invest in a lot of crypto projects, and I think he's been one of the earliest So he used to participate in these Telegram pools, right? A lot of these Telegram communities that used to invest, where there's a private allocation, and you read through the project. If you do find potential in the project, or if you see that the project is very hyped, you really want that 10x, 20x, 25x that crypto promises, right? Especially when markets were such, probably not as much right now, but especially when the markets were such. So Rishabh used to do a lot of this yeah, pooled investing, and through these Telegram communities and through a lot of these syndicates communities, etc., he used to be able to invest in early. I think he could participate in private rounds of Matic, Arweave, and Definity, and a lot of really good projects that he has been able to participate in, and he has had this exposure since 2017. 2017ish, and I was definitely a latecomer because I used to parallelly run the marketing business. And there was one time when he sort of invested on my behalf, and I had my own second thoughts about definitely, like many other newcomers, I had my own second thoughts about what exactly crypto and these digital assets are. But yeah, Rishabh really could understand the space, and he started I started trusting him with investing a little bit about of my money also. And he made me some profit by putting in he made me some profit, and that's how I was like, I do want to understand the space irrespective of the profits also. I do want to take this seriously. And then the problem that we set out to solve was also the same starting point, right? Which is pooled investing. How do we create better access to people pooling money in the fastest way possible, and in a way that you do not have to like trust the other person, or just create payment rails on this financial system, open financial system. How do we let communities really organize themselves around a shared goal, right? So at the moment, if we could be a bunch of people who want to invest together, we could want to fund charity, we could want to buy real estate in New York together, right? We could want to do anything in the world, but like the means of doing that in the traditional financial system is still falling behind, not just in terms of financial system, but also in terms of regulatory frameworks, and also in terms of how companies can structure themselves, how the entire system was falling behind. So we really thought of building Station X, which really just is very simple when it comes to how you could see from the high level, right? It's just how I can spin up a station on Station X, which is basically a treasury coupled with a treasury, as in like a traditionally how it would replace like an organizational bank account, right? A treasury primarily becomes the fund where we store our funds, and which is basically a multi-sig. And we've partnered with Safe for this, so we're building on top of Safe. So the money, we basically pool money into a shared multi-sig, and we control this multi-sig together, right? And we could be a group of 20 friends, or we could be the largest communities, like 20,000, 10,000 communities that sort of controls this treasury together, right? And we want to activate these treasuries, and we want to be able to enable these communities to really be able to participate in the modern Web3 economy, right? And that's really what matters the most, not just in terms of investing or building assets, but also in terms of charity, and also in terms of communities funding things that matter to them, right? There's really pressing problems in the world, like climate change, and there's so many, right? We really need to be able to organize faster on the internet, pool money faster, deploy money faster, and really get stuff done in the world, right? So that's primarily I've probably talked too much, but this is primarily the mission behind Station X. And yeah, I'll probably just wait for the rest of the questions. Yeah.
No, no, I think I can definitely sense the enthusiasm and passion that you have about this idea. And I think you have been an entrepreneur for a long time, so you have that clarity. And I can totally understand, I can relate to it as well. So, one question I have for you is regarding Station X. So how does that work? How does the product work? Say for example, say if I want to start a treasury or a fund, so I can, what is the process? How I can leverage Station X? Can you throw some light on that?
Right. So I think it's very simple, and it takes like a minute for you to get started. That's the best part actually, because we know we have struggled so much back when we used to invest in groups, right? So we just cut out a lot of, we had to abstract away a lot of things that are not needed. And so right now the system works in such a way that basically you spin out a station, right? So on Station X, every time you want to, let's say, start a new treasury or whatever, let's say you want to set up something for a community, right? So it could be like you with a bunch of friends. So let's take an example where Yash, let's say you want to you have a bunch of Web2 friends. They're not necessarily like investing or participating in Web3, but they know that you get Web3 well, right? And you just happen to understand NFTs, DeFi, and a lot of things much better, and also in terms of investing in projects and doing stuff, right? So you basically become like a sort of a small friendly fund manager sort of a thing, where you're like, I've spun up the station, right? You guys deposit money inside the station, and what the station primarily does is it basically returns, on every deposit that a person makes, the station basically creates representative shares, which are ERC20 tokens, right? So if, let's say, 10 of us to put in 1 lakh rupees each, or if, let's say, let's call it 1000 USDC, which I think is a lot more relevant example, right? Let's say we have put in 1000 USDC each, and we are, like, we could be like 10 friends, right? And so basically you spin up a station, you set the maximum value for the station as 10,000 USDC that you're trying to raise amongst 10 people. And the moment 10 people deposit money, if people could be depositing in different values also, I could come in at $3,000, and you could come in at 1,000, somebody else could come in at $500, etc., right? So basically the station returns proportional shares based on how much we've deposited, right? That's how the product works, and that's how the smart contract works, right? But primarily, as a user, all you need to know is that you've deposited money and you have provable shares of your deposit inside this treasury, right? Now these shares basically represent your share in this pool, right? Now whatever this pool is deployed for, right? So if, let's say, you own 30% of this pool because you deposited $3,000, if this pool is out there making profits, then you own 30% of your profits, and these are provable shares on chain, right? And every time you need to so basically, as a fund manager, the moment you've collected money, everybody has their shares. Now you could be deploying this money into investing or whatever, right? And the moment the tokens of your investment hit the treasury, which could be like a project that you've invested in, that has sent its tokens, right? You can directly disperse these tokens back to people, and this is like the primary use case that is solved, right? But other than that, you could build a lot of different kinds of models on top of this, right? Which is not just in terms of um, investing directly, but you could also directly deploy this pool into DeFi, right? You could deploy this pool into a pool of money into DeFi, or you could also be like, you know what, I want to split this pool, put some money into NFTs, put some money into DeFi, put some money into like investing into some of these other founders who are raising money right now, which are quality projects. Let's say you just probably think that StationX is onto something. Why don't I just put like part $1,000 in StationX as a project, right? So you could diversify treasury in that sense, right? But this is a case where you are managing money for your friends, or you let's say take the initiative with along with me and three other people, right? So four of us become admins who are controlling the treasury, and everybody else has basically deposited money, and they're trusting us with how we are deploying funds. So basically, these are trusted models that can be spun out of StationX, right? The other major area is how DAOs function, which is basically trustless, right? Let's say people do not trust me. I could be an unknown account on Twitter, and I just say that, you know what, we should spin up a DAO to we should spin up a DAO to, let's say, buy music NFTs together, right? Now people do not trust me, right? But what they but like how a DAO functions is primarily, but how do we remove trust is by governance, right? So while spinning up the station, if you, let's say, turn on governance, right, then every transaction on this treasury needs to pass the governance layer, right? So if it's 1,000 people inside this station, then, and let's say the governance framework is such that at least 70% people should vote in favor of the proposal for the transaction to go through, then the 1,000 people together can manage the system, right? And the like no changes can happen inside the system without it passing the governance, right? And this is what the code ensures, right? So this is how the system can be like system can adapt between like 10 people who trust one person who manage the account, or let's say it could be 100 people who trust like how venture capitals work, right? We like this LPs who deposit funds to venture capital, and we trust how the leadership team, which is general partners and analysts, and how they deploy the funds, right? So those kind of models can be built, which are basically trusted models, but we can also spin out DAOs, which are basically trustless models where community entirely decides how the funds are going to be deployed, right? So these are two different kinds of models that can be spun out and which create a range of use cases on what can be built, right? So if you were to start investing with friends, you just spin up a station, it takes 60 seconds, you just set how much, how many, like you just set basic stuff like what is the name of this station, like you set if you want to give out memberships in ERC20 tokens, or if you want to give out in some like really good looking NFTs, and you basically go live, right? You set if there's going to be governance or no governance, and basically how much money you're raising inside the station, right? And then you're directly live, your station, your contracts, everything is live, and you directly have like you have a clean good looking dashboard. You can share out a link to whoever needs to join the station, and that's it. Your community is now on chain, and you guys can do a bunch of things, right?
Got it. And I have another follow-up question. So in when I deploy the station, so I can once it's deployed, people get their the share based on the pool size, the percentage. So now as a owner of the station, I can deploy the capital on any chain, or is there any restriction how I use that capital? How does that work? And do you support all the chains? So what's the scenario?
Yeah, yeah, good question. So primarily we're right now EVM compatible only, right? So like I mean, if it's EVM based, we immediately go live, and right now because we are at the base level of the product, and we're only on privately live, so we've not even announced our mainnet yet. So we're privately live right now, and we are live on Polygon and Linear's testnet, right? So we're live on Polygon's mainnet and Linear's testnet, right? Linear's testnet launch was great. We have about 150,000 stations that were deployed on Linear, and a lot of excitement in the Linear community that we've seen. But on Polygon mainnet, we have 10 serious communities that are testing the platform right now, and most of them are like NFT collectives or degen communities, NFT collectives, or investment focused communities, right? Communities that are primarily investing together. And yeah, the transactions that these communities have done are basically happening on Polygon mainnet itself. But we are exploring a lot of cross-chain capabilities, right? So right now it is such that like we can deploy your station on any chain that you want, if it's EVM based, of course. But if you want your community to be able to, let's say, participate in governance, or let's say deposit from any other chain at the same time, we are going to work with a bunch of partners to be able to enable a lot of these cross chain capabilities, right? But right now it is such that we can go live on any EVM chain, and you're basically your entire community operates on the same EVM chain. uh, yeah, that's how the system is right now.
So so the investment also happens on the same chain, right?
Yes, but
Or okay.
the moment we enable cross-chain capabilities, right? Then what happens is now your treasury can go across chains, right? Which becomes a beautiful use case, because now you could be on Polygon, and there's immediately something that you want to do on Arbitrum, or there's immediately something hot happening in, let's say, Linea, or let's say Base, right? Base has some scene happening right now with like a lot of launches happening on Base, right? So you could directly move your like you can yeah, you can basically do a lot of stuff cross chain.
Yeah, but how do you protect from rug pull? Like if someone is, creating a pool and, like say they create say a 1 million pool from say 1,000 people. Now, they have already given good returns, but suddenly they decide, they want to rug the community. So how does the code protect the, such scenario?
Right. So one is that is why we do have like a trustless system also that you can deploy, right? So one is that, like, see, the thing is trusted pools are still going to exist, and these are trusted pools are mostly where people trust somebody, right? So imagine, like,
Yeah,
for example, it could be me, dogs, and people know me, and I'm only creating a pool out of people I know, and people who are putting in money inside that wall, inside the station, because they know me, right? So these are trusted pools. Or they could know, like, for example, if I could be like, if me and five other people start a fund, and people trust how we deploy funds and how we are going to generate returns for them, right? Then they're going to come in. But like, definitely, if people even have the slightest chance of rug, nobody enters a trusted pool, right? But on the same time, at the same time, if let's say we want to prevent rugs, we usually go for the governance based ones, right? Where you know that, for example, the biggest treasuries right now rely on 20 signers, right? So the entire community trusts that even if one person can be a faulty actor, the multi-sig that has the funds basically has 20 signers. So it's, and the threshold is 15 signers, right? So it's basically the trust that more than 15 people cannot go faulty, right? But it's such, right? But basically, and that is, let's say, the largest community that relies on 20 people, right? But
yeah,
we basically can create a system where one the same thing can happen, where you can have like 20 signers who you trust, 20 signers, right? So, and 20, it's the rug has to happen if there's only one signer, right? But, or let's say five signers, but let's say it's unanimous 20 signers, then maybe possibilities of rug are lesser, right? At the same time, if let's say you completely want to make it rug proof, then you basically create a governance based station, right? Now any transaction that needs to happen inside this station will have to go through the entire like the voting process, right? So like 70% of people in, like, you can basically set parameters, right? That at least 70% should vote, or let's say at least 50% people inside this community should vote, and out of them at least 70% should vote in favor, then only the transaction goes through, right? Then basically you believe that the network protects you, and everybody in the network thinks that the network protects them, right? Because the entire network, because everybody trusts the system, that this is how the governance works, right? So this is basically how you can prevent rugs. But we're also coming up with a lot of interesting measures where we are trying to, trying to make the system more robust and more secure. But eventually I think we will be able to figure that out also. But right now, if you do not want to if you do not want to have the risk of getting rugged, then definitely spin out a station with governance. For if it's a larger community and it's a larger fund that you're raising, then make sure that if you're creating a trusted pool, then you have to trust the admins of the pool. Even if the 20 admins, you just do your temperature check before depositing your money. If you are a trust, if it's the if it's a governance based pool, you trust the governance, right? Then the possibilities of rug become like barely negligible, and if something of that sort.
awesome. Got it. I understood. Yes, I think there's also a personal trust level when usually such pool groups work. And so for the audience, this question is purely from the audience. Like, say, as a newcomer, is new to the space, new, wants to invest, don't have any idea how they should, start their journey on your platform. So can you quickly tell us the steps, or so that, the community also knows what's the process for that?
So basically, we are going to announce the main like the app whatever link, right? So the moment you do that, so it's very simple. There's three steps to spin up a station, right? And the basically first step, you give your station a name. For example, it could be something like, I'm, let's say, starting something like the YD DAO, right? Let's call this the YD collective, right? So it could be like close knit friends or group of people who basically are your friends, my friends, whatever, because like we both Y or something of that sort. So let's call us the Y collective. And so basically we give ourselves a name, Y collective. We give ourselves a membership design. So basically we are basically giving out uh, Y artwork memberships, right? So it could be like setting up 100 NFTs as supply, and we basically create 100 memberships. We call ourselves the Y collective. we say that each NFT somebody has to pay, let's say, zero point 0.2 ETH or zero point 0.1 ETH, or somebody has to pay 10 USDC or 100 USDC. You can basically price this membership. So let's say we price it at 10 USDC, and basically, yeah, we basically make this an admin controlled station, because we want to be the ones controlling the community. Let's say, right? That's it. You deploy, and then basically what happens is your station is live, and you can now start sharing link with we can start sharing the mint link with people. Right now, anybody who opens the link basically sees the Y artwork, and like the details of this group, right? And they'll be like, Pranav and Yash have started this something really cool. Let me mint this NFT and join their group, right? So the moment they do that, they mint the NFT, they probably get into our private chat, which is a telegram chat that is gated by the NFT, right? Only people with the NFT can enter. And the moment inside the chat, we could then be doing a lot of interesting stuff as a close knit private alpha group, right? And then it could be whatever that we want to do, right? So that's the simplest thing that you can spin up. If let's say you're a newcomer, you do not know what to do, just spin up a friend circle, right? Just bring a friend circle on chain, try to vibe as a group of people. And that's really the beauty of being in Web3. It's the aspect of the social factor of being inside a community, right? So the easiest thing that you can start on StationX is just bring your friends along, get them to mint some NFTs, and start your private on-chain collectives, right? And name your collective, flaunt your NFT, and do some, like open those private chats and try to do some things together. Like, just if 100 NFTs are minted at zero point 0.1 ETH, that's 10 ETH in your treasury, right? That's a good start into get into crypto, right? 10 ETH is a good start, and hopefully you will be able to turn that 10 ETH into 20, 20 into 40, and 40 into 100. And you never know what happens, right? When it's a group of people that really want to do some interesting stuff together, right? And on the contrary, apart from this, I run a private collective myself, which is called Backer DAO. And where that I think, yeah, so yes, you definitely have an idea, but that's some interesting stuff that we are doing also, where we are creating a collective ourselves. And I would definitely urge people to apply to join Backer DAO. And if investing and like community framework of investing is something that you find interesting, do apply at Backer DAO, because we are actively taking registrations at this point.
Awesome, awesome. So thanks, Pranav, for explaining the step and how to create your own station. So I think for the users who are looking to start their own, want to become a fund manager, because right now I think it's the best time to start, because no one is talking about it. Everyone is running away from the space. So this is the time to get in. And I think,
I
yeah,
100% agree to that, Yash. I think this is the best time. Like, even if you have some capital, right? Really, just don't leave the space. If you pay enough attention, there's a lot of interesting things happening in the space. There are
yeah,
people who are putting their capital in the right places, and with the right, like, and the thing is, a lot of the times that this brings me back to the core mission here, right? That historically it has always been looked at like that only people with a lot of money will be able to multiply their money and make, like, or whatever, right? But
yeah,
communities really democratize and like create more equality in opportunity, right? So in terms of like in a traditional in the traditional world, right? If let's say I could be like what like if there's a company that raises right now, there's only like I do not want to name, but there could be Sequoia and a lot of different VCs that get to participate in these rounds. But as retail, like as an individual retail person with, let's say, 2000, 5000 rupees, we get to participate after after IPO, sorry, right? Which is when it gets listed in the market, right? But like, why does not retail have the opportunity to be able to uh, participate in value creation much earlier, right?
yeah,
What Where these other VCs enter, why can't retail enter, right? But that's really what communities enable us to do, right? As with the community framework of investing, with the right community, you'll get access to some of the most game changing opportunities. And like I mean, definitely I'm not trying to promote a next 100x, and I'm not trying to promote crypto in that sense, but like my intention is to say that, like having that access to be able to like have, alongside 100 people, if you're just putting in that same 5,000 rupees in like a good opportunity, right, something that makes sense to you and something that makes sense to these 99 other people who are also putting in money, there are chances you might make good return on it, right? And you don't have to be a Sequoia, or you don't have to be the, like a rich venture capital firm to be able to like invest, or like not just invest, but it could be anything for that matter, right? And with community, friendships always go a long way, right? So social
Yeah,
factor, even if you're not necessarily actively deploying capital, join communities where you can really just like vibe, have fun. And I really do believe that the future of Web3 should just activate people being able to have fun on the internet, spend time and have fun on the internet, and make money alongside, right?
yeah.
That's really the future we
I
need.
think the most important thing, if you have seen the early days of Web 2, it has been about few angels or VCs making a lot of money. But Web3 gives the opportunity to, even if you have say $100, it gives you opportunity and empowers you to convert that $100 into $1,000 or 10,000, and maybe eventually into 100K to $1 million. So this opportunity the Web3 gives you, if you are smart enough, if you are keeping your eyes open, if you are like hardworking, disciplined, the Web3 rewards such degens. We call them degens, but I've seen, I was in one hackathon recently, and I could see people working so hard and building stuff in like 2 days, deploying it, making
Yeah,
capital, get the protocol getting live in just few days, and it's crazy. So and that's what, and the community, the whole space never fails to excite you. There's always something new coming up. So if you are disciplined enough, and if you keep your eyes open, I think you'll get a lot of opportunities, and you'll attract those opportunities. You will meet the right people, and that's how your stars. You call it constellation. So that constellation will happen,
right.
and you'll
I
reach your goal.
love,
So
I
yeah,
love how constellations are the right analogy for like communities, right? Constellations are really
yeah,
just like a cluster of stars that make sense, right? And
yeah,
communities are just cluster of people that have come together out of nowhere, right? Like there's nobody
yeah,
out there standing on the road and yelling join my community, right? Communities really self-organize on the internet, which is, I think, the most, and like it's really just like how constellations really work as a right analogy to describe communities,
yeah.
right? They really just self-organize.
Exactly. And that's what is exciting. And again, thanks a lot, Pranav, for coming today, telling us about Station X, what you are building, how is your, like, what you have, what's your journey so far in the space, what you have been building, what you guys have achieved, and, how your product can help to the whole Web3 community. Really interesting. And I think I know your co-founder for a long time. So yeah, that's a really glad to connect. And along with that, just quickly, guys, quick update about Acknoledger as well. So we have been building a really interesting protocol called Universal Asset Numbering Scheme. I'm excited. I think within few months we're going to go live with that protocol, and that will be really game changer. Mostly, we'll be focusing on the most unique and important assets on the Web3, and even the real world assets. So, giving them a unique identity across Web3. So that protocol we are building, and along with that, there'll be a Dodas product that is going to coming out soon. So I think yeah, we are also hustling right now. So that's about it. And next week we'll have really interesting guest at 3:30 p.m. UTC. We might do the session early because of the time difference. But thanks a lot again for joining today, and thanks to Pranav and StationX team for sharing their knowledge, thoughts, and what they are building. So one last question, Pranav. How does the pricing, or how do you guys like make money? What is the revenue model, and how does the pricing work for the communities?
So primarily, so as of now, the platform is free. At least the base layer of the platform, which is to be able to create a station and like start doing stuff. We do not want to price that, but we are going to price treasuries moving forward, right? So a small percentage of the treasury that somebody raises, right? So that small percentage is what we are going to charge. So in terms of business proposition, it's going to be a very small percentage, and at the same time, when there's large enough treasuries on the platform, that's a very healthy business model to have also. And in terms of other channels of revenue, we are also exploring like the typical like the premium model, right, where the base layer of the product is free, but to have like some features that look really cool to you, but you want them, you just pay some subscription value or something. As a community, you just pay the subscription value to unlock those features for everyone, right? So we are going to price it in that manner, where there's a base transaction, not the transaction fee, but there's a base percentage fee on the treasuries that are deployed, and there's going to be a premium subscription sort of a model that we are exploring for like cool features that we're going to offer. And these cool features could
Awesome.
include stuff like notifications and a lot of these other things that could just be handy to have. And like, yeah, we're just building more value layers on top of this.
Awesome. Awesome. And all the best to the whole Station X team and you, Pranav, of what you guys are going to build. And really excited, and kudos to your energy and the whole team. And I think whatever help effort you need from Acknoledger as well, we are ready to support you guys. And thanks a lot again, everyone who is listening to this podcast. And we have been doing it consistently. If you have any question queries, feel free to ask us. And if you have missed it, you can again come back next Wednesday to speak directly with us. We are listening. We are ready to answer your question queries. So thanks a lot. And Pranav, any last closing words before we end this? Yeah,
One is that I'm so sorry I joined in late, but other than that, I think it has really it's been a lovely conversation here, and I've not been on as many podcasts before. You could call this as one of my first podcast experiences, and it's great to be doing that with you. And I really hope to see like some of your audience in real life IRL sometime. And yeah, and if anybody gets excited by Station X, I would love to get like a follow, or like some support in terms of like sharing what we do, or just talking about us. Smallest things like that go a long way for founders like me who are still in the space, and founders like you who are still in the space, right? So actively supporting in that sense would be really nice. And in terms of you know in terms of my closing words, I would just say that like it's really nice to talk to builders like you as well, who unlike many, we are still in the space. We are still very hopeful, and not just hopeful, we are damn excited for the times to come. And I really hope that the excitement that we show as founders really resonate and create like a lot of network effect across larger groups of people in the world.
absolutely, absolutely. And again, guys, please do follow Station X social media handles, join their community on Telegram, follow them on Twitter and all the other channels. And thanks a lot again to everyone for listening. And keep hustling, keep doing what you are doing, and keep your eyes open. There are a lot of opportunities in the market, and a lot of amazing people to follow and learn from them. So keep that hustle, and we are all going to make it. Thanks a lot. Enjoy your evening, and see you again next week.